then you, then you, then you, then you.
So, what do you feel, what experience do you feel makes you qualified to represent analysis of provincial and federal level?
So I'm marketing myself to you guys as someone who is new to the executive and is bringing a fresh face, but that's not to say I'm without experience at all. As a senator this year, I know intimately how the administration works and how the SAC works. It is, you know, I will have to work to build those relationships within the provincial standpoint. I mean, that's just the fact of it. But that's a structural disadvantage, not a personal weakness of mine. That's not to say I can't build those relationships.
Well, other than doing it for the last year, I would say just making myself very out there within the education community, always making sure that I was on the committees like all the NBSA committees, volunteering to look at policy within CASA, doing things like volunteering my time to the Youth Partnership for New Brunswick, and recently volunteering and being elected by the NBSA and soon to be appointed by the Minister of Post-Secondary Education to the Maritime Province's Higher Education Commission. That dedication to post-secondary education and advocacy and making things accessible for all students is what I think qualifies me for this job, that I am passionate about students being able to go to Mount Allison, that I'm not just advocating for the students who are here, but the students who can't be here because they can't access this education.
Counter?
Not so much a response, but more of a follow-up. Besides the SAC, I've been heavily involved over my 3 years here with the theater community. I'm a heavy in theater production, so a lot of people know me around campus from that sort of experience. As well as I was recently just appointed to a teaching awards committee, and also I sit on the recruitment and retention committee, which is co-chaired by Ron Byrne and Stephen McClatchy, looking at exactly what my portfolio is, or the VP Externals portfolio, I apologize, how we want this university to be branded and what the image is, how many students we want coming here, how big we want to grow. So that also speaks to my experience.
And I guess to follow up, if you want a list of all the committees that I'm sitting on or involved in and volunteered on, you can go and check out the Facebook page. There's also a video which has them flyby in Star Wars style, which I was really impressed that I was able to figure out how to do. So, you know, if you want to check out all the things that I've been involved in, you can go there and check it out.
Okay, and our next speaker.
Okay, so I'm just asking questions based off your speeches tonight. And so, again, this one's a little different, obviously, because of your speeches. Alex, you mentioned the fact that the university uses it to their advantage that there's a new SAC every year, and how that's a big problem. I reflect upon the days that I was campaigning to become president, and you flat out asked me, am I for the administration or against the administration? And, you know, there was no gray area. Was I for them or was I against them? And like was pointed out with the calling landlords scum, different approaches, I believe there was a quote in the Argosy about you saying the bullshit that Ron Bird feeds us. Dr. Campbell, sorry. Thank you. But I guess my question is, like, you know, you're taking a very all or nothing approach, which is, as I'm sure all of us know, not good in politics at all, and not good when you're trying to build relationships like you said you've been doing. So how do you respond to that, especially, you know, given the published, you know, deplorable words that you've been saying on behalf of the SAC this year? And Mark, like, I guess my question to you is, how do you plan to, you know, work with the, or sorry, I don't want the words in your mouth, but do you plan to work with the administration, and if so, how, in a way that's different than it's been done this year?
You just finished.
All right. As far as that comment, I thought it might come up, and, you know, I'm glad it did, because I stand by what I said. Part of the context of the discussion was we were talking about is Dr. Campbell, you know, a good person for this school, and I went on about how a lot of the administration will bullshit students, and at that point in time, I'll tell you that I was a little hot-headed, I guess, in that that day I had found out that the university had asked for a 5% increase in tuition for this coming academic year. So, you know, when they sit there and they talk about we want this education to be accessible for everybody, and then they go and do something completely different, that was me calling them out on that. And I talked to Ron Byrne the following day about that when I explained, or the day after when the argosy came out, I explained to him why I said what I did, and explained that we don't appreciate when you are saying one thing to us and then you do something different with the government.
So your question to me was how would I work with the administration? And the answer is I already am. As a senator, you know, Dr. McClatchy, Ron Byrne, Dr. Campbell, I've met with them all, I've talked to them all on numerous occasions. I already have that base for a strong working relationship already. I want to make it clear that although I'm saying that we want to work with the administration, if I'm elected, I'm not going to roll over and die. We're not here. We are here to stand up for students' rights and work with and get what the students want. But the way to do it is not the way that it's been done this year. It's to create those strong working relationships, to have conversations with people, and to work to make council more accountable.
Follow-up?
Yeah, and I'll say, it hasn't been all aggressive relationships with the university administration for me. You know, I sit on the university planning committee with Dr. McClatchy, and I'm always making sure to be very critical, although he's always very respectful, and it goes back and forth. And not to say that I think these people are horrible people. They're not. They're doing a job. And that job, they're not responsible to us in any way. They're responsible to a board who cares about dollars and cents. You stay in the black, you keep your job. This is our only chance to keep them accountable for what they do. And sometimes you need to give that little aggressive shot in the arm and say, hey, you know, don't be doing that. It's not good for students.
Okay, and
Sorry.
My response to that would be these dollars and cents that my opponent are talking about, that's us. We are the dollars and cents. We're giving them the dollars and cents. So we have that power, and the administration knows that. They recognize that the students, this is an undergraduate institution. We are the lifeblood of this institution. They recognize that. But we need to work with them to make sure that we're finding ways to find solutions where we can both be happy.
okay, and our next speaker was
You talk a lot about having a relationship with the town. Recently there was a town council meeting. Were you there?
okay. Yeah.
I did actually attend, and it was really positive. I received a lot of really interesting ideas for my campaign, and there was a lot of talk about sustainability and the environment, and there were a lot of reports that were quite interesting. So, short answer is yes.
And I'll say, no, I wasn't there for this last town council meeting. I did have a paper due with a partner the next day. If it was on my own, I'd have had no problem skipping that and staying up until 5 in the morning to do that. But I did have a partner on that, and I wasn't going to turn my back on her and screw her over because I had to go to the town council meeting. Aside from that, I've been to every single one since actually before I took over. So I went to every one over the summer. I went to the one 2 days after I got married in the summer. No honeymoon for me, it was straight back to work. August 8th I got married, and the 10th I was at the town council meeting. So that was my dedication to actually going to those meetings. And sorry, the last one I wasn't at. I have to help out my partner with the paper.
I guess in response to that, I mean, I'll be completely, I haven't been to every town council meeting this year. Like Alex, you know, things come up, and if it's not, you know, in my direct portfolio as a senator, there are other things I have to do. But I have been to more than one this year. I was in a couple in the fall.
Follow up at all?
Yeah, I don't remember you at those council meetings, but and I have presented a couple times to the council about what students were doing, the Green Investment Fund, trying to get people involved with that, and yeah, so I have been very visible, and I know I often go up to the councillors in the CAO after the meetings, and we'll usually have conversations about issues that came up in the meeting that were important to students, or I'll bring them up in the question period at the end, and you can see that on piece.
Okay, and what speaker was?
I was wondering if you were going to be staying in Sackville for the summer, elected or not.
You're up first.